Hello, everybody. I am Steve Autry, pastor at Denver United Methodist Church. I'm here along with our executive pastor, David Washko, and our guest, who is Betsy Hauser, who is going to be playing an important role in the life of our congregation in many ways. Betsy is the founder of the North Carolina Talent School, which is a school that we are partnering with to enter into a relationship with, whereby they will be using our facility and resources of our facility to some extent. And we just wanted to come and give you a little insight into what that relationship is going to look like, and also a little bit of an opportunity to meet Betsy and hear about her dreams for what she is going to be leading. So, Betsy, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you came to feel like you were called to start this school.
Yeah, so it was actually a personal story for me. By way of introduction, I had run basically community college level programming in 4 different states, teaching really condensed sort of workforce programs. So full stack development, teaching software developers in 8 weeks, taking folks that were, baristas or pizza delivery folks and saying, hey, you can imagine a different life. So I had some education background, but the calling really came. I have 4 kids. And as anyone that has multiple kids knows, they're all very different. And kid 1 is very, what I would call, sits in the box. She could go to school anywhere and make friends with anyone. Kid 2, he marches to his own drum.
Right. When you say that, it reminds me of a statement I heard along the way that some kids are, they're like daisies. You can plant them, they'll grow anywhere.
Yes.
Right. Others are not quite so easy. Some other kids are like orchids. They require a different level of attention and care.
For sure. And an amazing kid, right? Super smart, super focused on the things that he loves. But he did great in JK and then hit kindergarten, and we really, really struggled. And ultimately, he has ADHD. I do too. And I credit that with having built multiple companies. But he just didn't fit in a traditional school environment. And once we pulled him out, I had this realization. We started to enroll him in programs like geography with Zelda, and he built his own Nintendo Switch accessories. And really it was sort of this light bulb for me of, hey, maybe the traditional school just doesn't fit for him. And I went on sort of a soul-seeking mission of my own, trying to find alternatives. And I didn't really find anything locally that fit our family. So I looked at some hybrid models from other regions, and that was sort of the birth of Talent School.
Okay. So, David, you look like you had a question.
As an extension of what you were just sharing with your story, maybe you can share with everyone what the ideal student looks like, and even maybe what an ideal week at the school looks like, because it's really cool and very different than the norm, which I love.
It is. So we are 2 days on and 3 days off. So they're remote 3 days and they're in person 2 days. They come in person and it's project-based learning. So it's built around individual pathways for each kid. So it's really built around their interests. For instance, my daughter has had an Etsy site since she was 6, and each one of her projects is associated with kind of growing that site and kind of aligned with her own interests. And so really the ideal student, it's actually a funny question because a lot of people hear talent school and they make this assumption that, their kid needs to be a savant in something. And that's just not the case, right? It's really meant to symbol that each kid has a talent and a love, and each kid we build an individualized pathway for. Now, that's not to the exclusion of kids. I mean, we do have kids who are equestrians or gymnasts, and, really the in-person schedule doesn't work for them. And growing that passion, they can learn all the traditional core curriculum through that.
Okay. So it really sounds like it's almost customized to the individual student.
Highly customized. The student-teacher ratio is 4 to 1, and
Nice.
it really needs to be. And, the concept is really get them out of the class. And, one of the things that I thought was important, and I was excited to work with, the congregation here, is just this access to humans with talents that we can leverage. So we do a lot outside of the classroom. We bring in guest speakers, we take field trips, and it's really about letting the children experience, professions and, environments where they will be.
Right.
Maybe you can talk about too why you guys chose Denver United Methodist Church. I can tell you why we chose you guys because for us it looked like a perfect partnership. It's so important for us as a church to be good stewards of our property, right? It's not just about finances and our general budget. We've also been blessed with this incredible, awesome property, and we want to be good stewards. And so we were looking for a good partnership, not just an income generator, but a good partnership. And it seems so solid with you guys as to why we wanted to partner up. So maybe you can share with why you guys were attracted to us.
For sure. It's funny because kismet is one of my favorite words. And the second I stepped on the campus and kind of started to walk around, I felt that. I had been looking for the right place for over a year. And the access to, the property is gorgeous. The thought of, we have learning cycles. And for instance, one of them was service learning. And last year, the kids built, they did a swap shop where they brought in all their old clothes and they sold them to each other and then they donated and they worked with the Humane Society. And this idea that this all already exists, this infrastructure that they can just plug into and help lift up and be a part of that community. And, all of the service learning, et cetera, that's already occurring. And this amazing group of humans that comes here all the time that they can leverage. And the grounds are unbelievable. You have the better part of 50 acres.
It's pretty. Yeah, we're yeah, it's a lot. The look on David's face is, and I have to make sure it all gets mowed.
Well, the other cool part of it is, like you said, because this is project-based schooling, it's customized to the individual student. You guys are also seeking to leverage the gifts and talents of what this church has to offer. We have the garden, so the students can partake in learning about gardening. You said that you had interest in people who are expertise in their fields to come in, teach leadership, to teach singing, sewing. So it sounded like there was a lot here already offered for you guys.
Absolutely.
And one of Betsy's observations about this place is driving around to the back and seeing the church completely differently. So that's important for you all. If you're ever inviting someone or telling someone about your church, tell them to actually drive around the property.
My mind was blown.
Yeah, it presents differently than what we have on Highway 16.
For sure.
And that's, but that is part of what we're looking to do here is to build those mutual thriving relationship. It's not just about you being a tenant.
Well, and I think it was the same concept and thought that we had, which is if we went and bought our own land and built our own building, we'd be building out that community from scratch. Mm-hmm. And here it exists and we can plug in and hopefully lift the community and work together versus, start at, just the ground zero by ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we saw this as an incredibly awesome partnership. Not only that, but maybe you can go into a little bit about the details of the number of students you're hoping for, and then maybe what the next 1 to 3 to 5 years may look like for you.
Sure. So out of the gate, we'll probably have around 30 students and ramp up a little bit from there. But, one of the things that's really interesting with Talent School is we don't intend on, this is the only campus. We're going to have other regional campuses. And it's, one, cool for our students, but I think really cool for the church too. It's regional meetups, bringing in other people, having our students meet with people that are in, Belmont or South Charlotte, and creating a larger ecosystem. And then in addition to that, our school is very unique in that we're partnered with the likes of Prisma, which is an accredited global institution, and MIA Academy. And our students actually go to physical school, and then they have online cohorts from 4th grade and up. So my daughter's a great example. When she's in her online math cohort, she has one friend who lives in Charlotte who's in her cohort, another friend who's in Canada. And so they actually build these relationships, and her math instructor is in Spain. So they build these global relationships, which are so interesting because they have this close community, but then they also get like a global perspective.
Right, get an extended community.
Yeah.
Right. That's I love the model and love what you're doing, and I'm encouraged by the fact that we'll be working together. And I know there's some, this is a change for this church. and I want to just name that. Our traditional way of understanding a church property is the church property sits there and is available for the members to use. But this is a change, and we're using this property to further the ministries of this church, and I hope you can hear that. And to not just, as David said, it's not just about having someone pay rent, although you are doing that. People should know that. But it's about building a relationship with the larger community, and that the more a church can partner with those things that exist within the community already, whether that be schools, businesses, or what have you, the better, the stronger the church will be. Because we're all trying to help make Denver, North Carolina, the best community it can be.
I would say too, there's so much gratitude from even these students. There are a lot of these students, for one reason or another, didn't fit the mold of a traditional school, and to find a home that's supportive, it's pretty amazing to talk to those kids and see how excited they are to find the right fit.
Right.
So that they'll be appreciative to everyone here.
Yeah. So, what will I'm just saying, we do have some groups that have asked some questions about how the space will be used and all of that kind of stuff. So, how do you envision using primarily the space in what we call the Cork, which will be one of the primary spaces that you have access to?
Yeah. So for me and in my my prior company, we worked in a lot of co-working spaces and mixed use spaces. And I think about this space the same way, which is it should still be this community space that is an event space. I think we'll try to upgrade it, maybe replace the carpet, maybe make it a little more modern. But outside of that, don't think it's going to be ABCs on the wall. It's meant, my hope is that it ends up being a space that can still be used for community events, and folks from the congregation and folks from the Denver community at large, and also our students. So we actually used AI to create some sample models of what it could look like, with some cool modular modern furniture. And it's not going to be traditional classrooms. That's not really the way we operate anyway.
Well, and one of the other thoughts partnering with you and your school is that it allows us accessibility to the space on the weekends when we really need it the most.
Absolutely. The more people that go through it, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's been part of this feeling out process. And again, why we feel like this is such a great partnership is that it allows us to maximize the use of this building, where it's been used maybe 15, 20% of the time on a year-to-year basis. Now we're going to be pushing 90% of the time that this building is actually being used. And to me, that's a demonstration to the body and our community that this church is trying to steward well. We've got people like, why is our fields empty? Why aren't we having people out there more often? Well, now we're going to have students being out on the fields. You guys are going to leverage using the arbor space during the school days too. Some of the scout buildings. So, now we're starting to move in a great direction. That's one of the reasons why I feel like this is a great, great partnership.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you want to make sure the listeners know about the school, about yourself, about what's going to be moving forward before we bring this to a close?
I think the one thing that I want to just reinforce is how much we want to meet everyone from the congregation, because we realize there's so many people with these unique talents or backgrounds. Learning about your daughter was such a perfect example. We have a lot of kids that want to be actors when they grow up, and what an amazing connection, right? And so there are so many people that come here, and we would love to leverage them, and the kids would love to. So we don't want anybody to be a stranger. Please introduce yourself, and please see how we can work with you. And anything the church is, preparing for. I know that there was a blood drive recently, and we hadn't really started yet, but it's the kind of perfect thing where, hey, our students would have loved to be out there handing out cookies, or how can they be a part of whatever's already going on within the church?
Well, maybe one last thing before you invite her to our fifth Sunday. Maybe mention some key staff people that will be here on campus.
Absolutely. That's a great point. So I will be here on a regular basis. Jake House will be here. I think a handful of people, I've met him already. Jake is actually the former CEO of Smart Start for all of Mecklenburg County and former CEO of Citizen Schools, and then ran a private business. So he has a lot of experience making sure we build this the right way. And then Erica Brosfield, who a lot of folks have seen already, is a second level admin. She's here on a regular basis. November Gibson is one of our lead teachers. And then you'll see a handful of other folks as well. But keep your eye out. Introduce yourself to any of those folks.
And I want to encourage our church members that when you're here through the week and you happen to see these folks, do engage, say
Yes.
hello, let them know how grateful we are they're here. Offer Christian hospitality to them, because this is it's about extending the reach of this congregation into the neighborhood as well. So we're grateful for that opportunity.
So speaking about opportunity and hospitality,
So on September 29th, Sunday, it's fifth Sunday, we'll have a combined service, 10 a.m. in the sanctuary, and Betsy will be here afterwards because we have a ministry fair. We have meal and ministry fair following. Great time for fellowship and a great opportunity to see all that's going on in the church. And Betsy's going to be here to represent the talent school. So if you have questions for her personally, then you'll be able to ask them straight face to face.
Hopefully I can answer them.
I hope so. If people want to learn more about this, do you have a website up and running and all of that?
Yeah, of course. It's just jointhetalentschool.com.
Okay. And that's easy enough for you to check out, and that way you'll get an idea of what they're doing. I do want to point out, too, that our leadership group has been working hard to find a way to partner with someone, and that we have had other people inquire about using the space that just didn't meet what we needed from the church. And so this vetting process has been extensive
Absolutely.
on both sides. Also, we have done our due diligence too. For the protection of all parties, we've worked through quite an extensive lease agreement, and so everybody's come to terms on that. Just know that we have crossed our T's, we've dotted our I's, and we've done the work before the work so that this can be successful. Oh, and I appreciate your support. I would ask for your prayers for your church and certainly for the talent school as they seek to do this new thing in this community, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You all have a great day.